All right, you ready? Dude.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, we can hear it.
You know what's funny? This.
Am I in frame?
Yeah. This girl in the Discord, she said, Jimmy, my boyfriend said if he could twerk, he could twerk to this. He would twerk to this music. He said he loves your intro music.
All right.
It's a vibe.
Should we let it go?
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's go.
Let's go. Game on. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of King of the Court. I am Tyler Leung, and we got, who's this guy over here?
Jimmy Miller.
Jimmy Miller. So we had an emergency pod the other day, and so this is a little bit more loose, I guess you can call it. It's a little bit more question and answer. So we're going to start off by thanking our sponsorships. So thank you to our sponsors. We got the Pickler title sponsor. Who's the Pickler, Jimmy?
Pickler, yeah. Indoor pickleball courts. They're announcing, they just actually posted on Instagram with 78 locations.
78 new locations all around America.
Yeah, all around the United States. They're actually trying to get into Canada at some point too, but they are blowing up. Pickler.
Check them out. They also have an e-commerce site called thepicklershop.com. Use code KOTC for your next paddle, bag, ball, anything pickleball related. Check it out on picklershop.com. Next, we got Crown Pickleball right here. We love them.
Yeah.
You've also got
I got the crown hat on, rocking the crown hat. Listen, I know a lot of people ask for crown hats. I'll try and get more. They went very, very quickly.
Are we ever going to see you without a hat on?
No, nobody wants to see that.
I think a couple of people wanted to see it.
No, I don't. Listen, I get made fun of enough on this show. I'm good. I'm good.
All right, next we got Mod Balls. We love them. This coconut flavor, chocolate flavor is incredible. No lie, I was at Kansas City Open last week and I did not have these with me and I was absolutely craving them. It gives you that burst of energy. It's clean feel. It keeps you going throughout the day. It's healthy. Anything else, Jimmy?
Yeah, no, clean. And what's the thing you always say? Clean
fuel, clean energy.
Clean energy. I don't know. It's great.
Yeah, super good. They're easy to carry around. Check them out. Use code KOTC at modballs.com. And last but not least, we got Vulcan, who released their new paddles, their new 700 paddles.
Oh, yeah, 24th,
Yeah, they released them. So go check them out.
Check them out.
VulcanSportingGoods.com. Use code KOTC for a discount.
Yeah, Vulcan, title sponsor of TOC and the Kansas City Open.
And the Kansas City Open and the Tournament of Champions.
Yeah, and the Tournament of Champions. I heard, now I didn't, since what we're talking about today, the comments on the YouTube chat, well, it was on Amazon Prime, but on like the Discord and things like that. But Vulcan's trophy presenter, who we both know, stole the show. Lucia stole the show with her comments as she was handing out the trophy. Like literally saying stuff like, I guess change is good, and making little comments about what was happening.
We'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah. So anyways, moving on. Here we go.
All right. So as everybody knows, we are in extreme volatile times in the pickleball world and in the world in general. And so this video is going to be a little bit more of the Q&A. We had people write in asking us questions of what's going on, what in the world is going on. And so this video is going to be specific to answering those questions. And then we'll hopefully get out another couple videos just kind of with updates. We are supposed to talk to Connor Pardo, the commissioner of the PPA. And then we're also trying to line up something with MLP just to kind of get all sides of the story.
What's crazy is literally 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Before things are happening, things are fluid.
Yeah.
We're getting lots of phone calls. We're getting lots of texts. We're hearing a lot of information. So anything that happens on this podcast could literally be outdated by the time you guys watch it. But this is as fluid of a situation as there is.
Yeah.
And we're on a collision course.
Yeah. Echoing what Jimmy said 5 minutes ago, there was a person of a very high news outlet that was calling us and said he's getting a lot of flack for stuff that they're doing. And so he's going to give us a call back when we get a little bit more information. But moving on.
So we're going to try. Here's one thing that we're going to try and do today, just so you know, and we did this on our first part one of this, if you watched it, is we're just going to try to stick to what we know and try and kind of stick to the facts about things. I mean, obviously we can piece things together.
Jimmy speculating?
I mean, I'll speculate a little bit, obviously.
Never.
That's what I do. But there are things that we do know for sure. And so we'll try and stick to those the best that we can. And, hopefully, Jim Kloss will watch this and he'll go post about it on Facebook and pretend that he has sources.
There we go. So as I said, we're going to pretty much just be doing a Q&A. Jimmy got a lot of questions writing into him. I also got some to me. And so we're just going to try to knock these out somewhat quick. Keep this between 30 and 40 minutes again. All right. So the first question that we got was, how soon before Riley runs out of people to play with because of his antics and drama?
Well, the great thing about MLP is he's stuck on the team. So it actually benefits him, right? Because now that Riley chose MLP, he's going to be on his team the whole time. Riley's reasoning for going to MLP was because he was tired of losing to Ben Johns. I mean, that was one of his main reasons. And so I think MLP is a perfect fit for him. His attitude towards competition fits in MLP better.
I don't know if you were following the memes of pickleball, but they did one with Riley and kind of roasting him to some extent, making fun of him. And Riley actually commented on that post, and I'm guessing it's Riley's younger brother or something like that. He chimed in there as well, and he was backing Riley up and kind of making some interesting comments about Grandpa Matt. Saying that Grandpa Matt only has wins because he partners with people who are 25 years younger than him.
I mean, that's fair.
It's fair.
But
Grandpa Matt, I like
that.
That
being said,
Grandpa, it's got a ring to it.
Yeah, but Grandpa Matt actually has wins. That's something that Riley doesn't.
Who really has the fastest hands out there?
I think that's a good question. I think that the ones that you always hear about, obviously, are J-Dub, Ben, right?
Leia commented on this. She made a tweet about this or something like that a little bit ago, and she said, everyone talks about how quick some people's hands are, and it's actually almost impossible to measure how quick people's hands are because every interaction is different. The ball's coming from a different place, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And so I think it's kind of hard to truly judge who has the fastest
Would the better
hands.
question be who has the better counters? The best counters?
Yeah, but even then, I think it's a little bit subjective.
Yeah. You know who actually has...
But I think Dylan Frazier's got good hands. I would take him over J-Dub.
Yeah, Dylan, J-Dub, Ben. But you know who I think actually has fast hands, but it maybe not just be their hands, but maybe be how fast they can reload?
Who?
Is Hayden.
Sure.
Hayden's reload is insanely quick.
A lot of people used to think Dave Weinbach had really good hands, and he does have good hands, but what he does better than a lot of people is he anticipates. And so if you throw him an off-speed ball, sometimes he'll completely whiff it because he's anticipating it, and he anticipates so well that most of the time he connects with it. But it's not him having fast hands, it's him anticipating. So there's a difference between those two.
You know who doesn't have fast hands?
You?
Well, my hands are amazing. Insanely amazing.
All right, who doesn't?
Christian Alshon does not have good hands.
Okay.
I think they could get better.
Who else does not have fast hands? There's one other person that gets thrown, which I actually think he does have fast hands, but this person's name.
A guy?
Yeah, a guy.
He always gets what? I don't know. Who are you going to say?
I don't want to say because
I have a female that 100%. Every time there's either she's oblivious to what's going on or she just has the slowest hands in the world. But every time she gets sped up, it's like she's surprised.
Who is
Jessie.
It? Okay.
Every time she gets sped up, it's like she's shocked.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, again? And then she gets freaking handcuffed and yeah.
All right, somebody said...
You're not going to say who that was?
What a lot of people say, and I actually disagree with this, but a lot of people say Jay DeVilliers has slow hands.
Yeah, he does have slow hands. That's
I actually don't think he does, but a lot of people say that.
No, he does. He's a little lumbering. Like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But maybe with that new Vulcan paddle, that'll help.
Yeah. All right, somebody said, we bet on several of Tyler's matches. Rhett Myers had us a little nervous. Good job. Thank you.
What are you allowed to say about this?
I don't know. That's all I'm going to say.
Are you allowed to say anything?
Yeah, I'll just say thank you.
Sports betting, how wild. So we can't bet in Utah. Okay. So I had a friend who was he lives in another state, and he was like, hey, what bets should I make? And I'll have you know that I was 4 for 4.
You were?
Yeah, 100%. I will slay. If pickleball betting was in Utah, I would never do this podcast again because I would get rich off of that.
But isn't there a limit to the amount that you can bet?
2,000.
Okay.
That's no joke.
Yeah.
Like they were letting people bet $2,000. Like you were a massive favorite over Rafa.
Which I don't understand because I was the lower seed than him.
That was weird, right?
Yeah.
But 9.5 points, you were the favorite.
Well, I didn't.
I mean, no.
I don't know what honestly, I can say, but Rafa's a good player.
No, I mean, honestly, it was easy money on Rafa.
Yeah, exactly.
The other one was Anik Lohani. You don't know what you can say on this, but against Jay. Mm-hmm. Literally, if I could have bet $1 million on that, I would have.
No, you wouldn't have.
Yeah, 100%. That was an easy one.
Okay. Does this mean that any player that signed with MLP will not be playing PPA? Go ahead.
So, this is a weird situation on this, right? Because technically, these MLP players are under contract with PPA. And these MLP contracts don't start till 2024. Mm-hmm. So technically, they should be able to still play these. However, what we're hearing is that there's going to be, one, a lot of these players don't want to play PPA. Why would they? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, if anybody watched the Kansas City Open, everybody was so checked out mentally. So one, why would they? Number two, we were told that there's most likely something coming out where these MLP players will, on the PPA side, will not be allowed to play. Whether that's true or not, we're not 100% sure. But I would, Connor Pardo posted on Facebook, somebody posted a thing about, are there going to be any players left in Cincinnati? Mm-hmm. And Connor responded and said, Cincinnati's going to be huge.
Yep.
Nobody knows what that really means, but maybe Connor will allow all these players to play.
Yeah, going back to your point, I don't know why they would necessarily. I mean,
why would you want to?
Yeah.
Right? But we don't know if there'll be an official ban from the PPA, saying that if you sign with MLP, you're not allowed to play.
Yeah.
Or if there'll be, it'll just be something that the players opt out of at this point because they chose their side.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be really interesting because I actually had a couple of players reach out to me and they were like, if you hear of any money games through the end of the year, or
those big contracts don't kick in until next year.
They don't kick in, or like anything, any tournaments or anything that we can do for the next 4 months. Let us know.
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
Maybe we should host the tournament.
Yeah,
right.
King of the Court,
where
we just sit there and commentate.
Yeah, we commentate and we just host a massive tournament for these pros that aren't going to be playing the rest of the year.
Yeah. Somebody said, what's the hardest part about juggling pickleball and family? I would just say the travel for the most part. Sometimes we're on the road a lot, and that just makes it a little bit more difficult. This is my full-time job. I've been doing this full-time for 5 to 8 years, whatever it is.
Really?
And so,
have you ever had a 9 to 5?
Yes, but they've all been very unique 9 to 5s. Yeah.
Like what? What have you done?
So I was a sales rep for Onyx Pickleball, but I worked from home, and so it was very flexible.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would still travel to these tournaments and everything like that. So that's how I have so many connections within the pickleball industry already.
Yeah.
Was through that job. All right, when do these contracts take effect? Will PPA players finish the MLP season? So we kind of just talked about that. So our understanding is for the MLP contracts, those don't kick in until 2024, so next year. From my understanding, from what we've heard, is PPA is going to start this year. So they're going to start paying out sooner.
So to be clear, PPA, what we know is that nobody has actually officially signed a contract with PPA yet. Mm-hmm. They're letters of intent at this point.
Okay.
But
what is a letter of intent? LOI.
So a letter of intent just basically means that these are the terms as best outlined. Yep. There's not super detailed terms, but both of you agree that you will essentially do your best to meet the obligations and terms in this. I mean, it's a 1-page piece of paper.
Gotcha.
And so PPA's got to, do their, essentially make their best effort to agree to those terms. And then as a player, you make your best effort to agree to those terms.
Yeah.
And, and hopefully, sometimes things can get hung up in negotiations. Maybe PPA is requesting something that you don't want to do, et cetera. But those contracts are not official. Yeah. Right? So nobody has actually signed a PPA contract yet that we're aware of. But one thing that we have heard, just like you just said, is that when you sign those will actually replace your current deal, right? Mm-hmm. It'll immediately go into effect.
I believe so, yeah.
And it'll replace your current deal. So if you have 2 years left on your PPA deal, you don't have to wait 2 years, to get this paid. So I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts still. It's kind of wild right now. Like it's
from
crazy.
What we've heard, the prices that are attached to these players is ludicrous. It is insanely high.
I don't know how they're going to get
And
paid.
we do not know how this is going to end. There are players that have literally never medaled in an APP tournament that are signing contracts for over $200,000
Yeah.
supposedly.
Yeah, allegedly. But I have personally seen contracts in the $400,000 or $500,000.
Literally, some of these players might be 4.5 to 5.0 level players.
Okay, so there was someone that signed with PPA and her duper was 4.8.
Yeah.
I think there's
This is
potential there, but
outlandish.
yeah, it's out of control right now. It literally is out of control. I think MLP's up to around 70 players signed at the time of this. They've only announced about 50. I think PPA's at like 30 or so that are committed. Obviously, none of them have actually signed yet, but they're committed.
Yeah.
We're going to say that,
If this continues forward, there has to be a restructuring of the
well, the
contract.
inflation's too high right now. It's gone up too high. The arms race got it. I mean, for lack of a better term, the measuring contest, as we'll call it. I won't say what measuring contest. It's gotten out of control. And I mean, literally, there's MLP players. There's players that are signed, sealed, delivered with MLP, and PPA is coming to them and offering them double and triple. And yeah, what happens? Like now they're trying to get out of MLP contracts, and they're saying like, "Oh, we're gonna go over here." And then there's PPA players who have been offered insane amounts of money, and they've said, "Yeah, we're gonna go PPA." And then they're calling MLP saying, "Hey, I'm having second thoughts. You guys seem to have critical mass right now.
Yeah.
How do we do this?" And I just think it's such a fluid situation that we're going to see players flip from both sides.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So,
All right. We got this question a lot. A lot of people wrote in asking me, so I chose PPA. They said, "Why did you choose PPA?" Why did I choose PPA, Jimmy? If you were to name 3 reasons,
I would say
I'll just go off of those.
Yeah, I can answer for you.
All right, answer it for me.
I think I know you pretty well. I think number one, there's loyalty. You've never, ever been like Connor Pardo and the PPA have always treated you very well.
Yeah.
Right? Connor Pardo told me at the MLP draft that Tyler Loong will always get drafted Premier League as long as I have a say.
Yeah, I don't know if that can actually happen, but
Okay, well,
I get what his point is.
Well, now I can't.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that he's been very good to you.
Yeah.
He's been very loyal to you. He's taken care of you. There's complaints about the PPA. There is but there's going to be complaints about any organization. There's complaints about any employer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's complaints about the MLP, but you, for the most part, don't have many complaints about the PPA.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's things that you'd like to see changed and fixed and restructured, but you're happy.
Yeah.
And Connor's treated you well.
Yeah.
And so for you, there's no reason to take that risk. The second thing was the money was higher. Right. The money was higher in PPA for you than it was in MLP.
Yeah.
Significantly higher.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we can say 50% higher.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, dude, you have 2
Close.
little, you have a wife, you have 2 little girls, you have a mortgage payment. You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
The third thing is you get to test yourself against the best players in the world. Right?
Yep.
You don't have to play the team format, which I don't think you hate the team format.
Yeah.
But you're a tennis guy. You grew up playing tennis. You like the tour model. The tour model it fits you you like it better.
Yeah, I would agree with all those. Number one, I've known PPA since before they started. They trusted me. I'm good friends with them. I like what they're doing, their vision. I'm familiar with their format. They've been running these tournaments successfully or unsuccessfully for the past 3 to 4 years. I kind of know what I'm getting out of them. MLP is great. I love their tournament format or their team formats. But I did not want to play in a team event or team format once a month or once every 2 months or something like that. I felt like it loses its luster, its appeal when that type of an event happens frequently.
Yeah.
And then, as he said, the money was better. And yeah, I mean, I just like.
Do you want to say what you got?
$5 million. Okay. Yeah.
Big
time.
Big if true.
I mean, that's what all these.
As Matty Pickles always says on Twitter, big if true. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much why I chose the PPA. And I mean, honestly, nobody knows what's going to be happening.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
These contracts are, like we said, they are out of freaking control right now. Okay.
Do you know what AAA baseball players make or G League basketball players make?
Yeah. They're making like $50,000 a year.
They're making like 30 to 70.
Yeah. I know. I know. I mean, we're talking like just crazy amounts of money. Yeah. Okay. So where is this money coming from?
That's a great question. So MLP, they have I don't know. I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm guessing, but they have the money from the teams. They've sold teams for $5 to $10 million.
They have 4. They're planning on having 4 teams available now because we're going to have Utah, which was Connor's team. We're going to have Seattle, which was Tom Dundon's team. We're going to have Arizona Drive. And we're going to have Dallas Pickleball Club because those were the Vibe teams. So those 4 teams are now going to come available. And they're expecting
and rumors are they already have buyers lined up for the 8 to 10 million price range.
For the 8, exactly. For the 8 to 10 million price tag. So that's where some of this is going to come from. But with that being said,
But do you also know how much they are losing each event they run?
I heard they're losing between $1 to $4 million each event.
Per event.
Yes.
And so that money, while you have 10, 20, 30 million, it also can go quickly, especially with the prize money that they're paying out. Now switching over to the other side, PPA, they've been running this, I would say, successfully. A lot of people would disagree with that, but they've been profitable, or they've been able to make money.
So I talked to somebody at PPA. He said that the tournaments are not profitable, but they're breaking even. They're not bleeding money. Exactly. They're essentially breaking even.
Yeah.
But where their profits are coming from?
Sponsorships. They have a legitimate sponsorship list.
And they have big ones coming. Maybe.
Yeah. And they've been doing this for 4 years. Yep. They've run amateur tournaments. They run professional tournaments.
Yep. And then there's 2 big things.
They also own Pickleball Central,
which is huge.
Pickleball tournaments, pickleball brackets, and PPA.
Yep. And they have
Vibe Pickleball.
They have Vibe.
And people are not including the selling of Vibe Pickleball teams as well.
Yes.
They might not go as high as MLP, but they also will go for, I would imagine, 500,000 to at least $1 million.
Yeah. I mean, if you sell 12 Vibe teams for $1 million,
exactly,
you're doing okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that and both these organizations are ran by business dudes, right? Tom Dundon's a billionaire, right? Steve Kuhn I don't know if he's quite a billionaire, but he's worth a lot of money. There's a lot of millionaires.
What do you think the revenue is with all those companies with PPA? The revenue. So not profit, but revenue.
Well, I heard Pickleball Central was $60 million in revenue.
So I have a statistic. They claim that they are 85 million plus in annual revenue. Now, how much their operating expenses and everything like that is, we don't know.
But I could see that. I mean, I could see them making
85 million.
Yeah, if they made 60 million from Pickleball Central, then I don't think another 25 million is that.
Yeah.
Right? But Pickleball Central is a cash cow.
Yeah.
And I think they call it Pickleball Inc. That's like the whole
umbrella, maybe.
Umbrella. But there's something else they're going to roll out too, and I don't want to.
You don't want to break it?
Well, I don't.
This is why people don't like you anymore.
I don't think it's
you've grown soft.
I don't think it's my place to break it, because it's a big deal for them. But let's just say that I'm actually really curious.
Okay.
Once it breaks, we'll talk about it. But I'm really curious what they do with it now that there's a split. I'll just say that. Okay. Also, by the way, the cover photo on Vibe Pickleball is of Riley Newman. Do you think they're going to get rid of that?
Definitely. They are burning that. With all the players that switched, they're scrubbing their social and everything.
Yeah, even yesterday, Tyson's had a championship Sunday, and it was like the most basic. There was no PPA. There's no nothing. So,
what paddle does he use?
Right now, or
which one is he using?
I think he's using that. He got rid of that white Selkirk.
Oh yeah,
Is that weird that he went to a black paddle?
Wow, that's about time.
But isn't that interesting?
It is.
Because he's always been a white paddle guy.
Yeah.
Should we take this call?
We got a call coming in that we got to take. Hold on 1 second. We're going to put pause. Right. We were talking about finances.
So where's the money coming from?
Okay. Sorry, we just got off a very long phone call. It was about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And
with some interesting info, but so the finances, right? So we have Pickleball Central has money, Pickleball Inc. has money, PPA obviously has a revenue stream. They've obviously ran successful tournaments. And then you have MLP on the flip side who, as far as we know, they're losing money.
Yes. From what we've heard.
From what we've heard. Connor Pardo just sent out a tweet. And he said, I have $5 million of upfront money in the bank right now ready to send out. I think that's one of the things that he's essentially trying to push is that they have the money and MLP still has to raise the money. We don't know if that's true or not. Right.
The craziest story you told me is one of these tours was trying to get another player to come back to their side.
Yeah.
And this person negotiating had his phone open. He had his bank account open and he said, tell me your bank account information and I will wire you $800,000 right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Literally right now. He showed him. He showed him the money in his account and he said, I will wire you the money right now.
What is happening?
Yeah, he said, give me your routing number.
You should have taken his phone and ran.
Right? Like he's like, literally give me your routing number. I will send it to you right now. I mean, this stuff is crazy. So here is my opinion. Okay. This is Jimmy speculating in my opinion.
Okay.
This is getting so inflated. It's becoming such a freaking crazy, insane situation that it's almost going to force a merger to slow it down.
I think they just have to redo the deals. I think they'll still be high. But
Sure.
there's no way that they can stay where they're at.
Yeah. Some of these deals have just got to I don't know if you remember a few years ago, NBA deals got just out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, they were literally so crazy high that like teams were like started like almost going bankrupt and they came up with this thing called an amnesty clause and they allowed every team to essentially amnesty one player. And what that meant was you could take a player that you paid a crazy inflated contract to, right? And you could essentially cut that player and you could amnesty their contract. You still have to pay it, but usually they ended up prorating it, things like that, right? But it didn't count against your salary cap. And, so if you had $20 million going to, Boris Diaw or somebody like that, like you could literally amnesty his deal and then it kind of helped you get back into the game. And I think that we're going to see that. I think we're going to see something like that. We're going to see something crazy where like Tom Dundon, who's a smart guy, Steve Cooney's a smart guy, where they're like, hey, we're going to pay these deals out, but we're going to prorate them, right? We're going to give you interest on them, but now we're going to prorate them over 10 years instead of 3 years.
Let's talk about the players that signed very first with MLP. They signed deals for, at the time, were 150, 200, 250. Good deals. Deals.
Amazing at the time.
And this was 1 week ago?
Yeah.
1 to 2 weeks ago. And now all of a sudden, as we were talking about, there's these 4.5, 5.0 low level players that have never medaled in an APP, let alone tournament. And they are getting $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000.
Bro,
how did they feel?
My duper's 466.
How did these players feel?
I should get in on it. I think those players it would not shock me if those players have gone back to the table. If they haven't gone back to the negotiating table or if they haven't said something. And here's the thing is we don't know this obviously for sure, but Top Notch we've heard has been orchestrated this.
Yeah.
And we don't know what those deals look like.
Yeah.
But we have heard rumors of where they are, and they're in the 150, 200,
the initial deals, the very first people that signed.
Yeah, those first deals.
Yeah.
So did Top Notch do their players a disservice?
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't see this coming, obviously, right? Like nobody could. Yeah. But it's crazy because if you went to every pickleball player, every single player on the PPA tour, if I went to every player other than Ben Johns and Annalie Waters.
Yeah. And Riley or Tyson or whatever.
But then I said, I will give you $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
From the guaranteed money, appearance fees. And
even 100, a lot of them would do it.
Yeah. I think they all would say yes. And now all of a sudden 200 isn't enough.
Yeah.
They want 3, they want 4, they want 5. I mean, dude, like
talk about greed.
There was a player that asked for $700,000.
Yeah. And
she's
been playing 3 to 4 years.
Maybe not even that long. Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it's just gotten completely
it actually makes me sick. And I think a lot of the players, it does make them sick to think about this amount of money, the amount of, I'm going to call it greed. The amount of greed that some of these players are asking for is just.
But is that being created for a purpose? Is that being created because because we're
I
trying
would feel bad.
to force a merger.
I would feel bad asking for that amount.
Yeah.
Even if I got it, I would feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny.
I don't want to take.
I heard 2 pro players. So I talked to 2 pro players yesterday that said the same thing to me. And one of them said,
but then you have, on the other hand, maybe some other players that say, take what you can get.
yeah. So this is what's interesting. One of them told me, she said, she's a high level player. She said, I already felt like I was kind of overpaid before. Mm-hmm. And she's like, now this is ridiculous. Yeah. The other one said, this is pickleball. Like, this is like a very middle of the road, lower tier sport. Mm-hmm. Like it's pickleball. Yeah. We are getting paid, like these new deals, we're getting paid insanely well for
if they come to fruition
for pickleball.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, I talked to another player last night, and she was like, my parents told me to get as much money as I can, to take it as high as I can, and keep asking for more and more and more.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing they could do is say no.
Yeah.
And I get that. I get both sides, both lines of thinking, but it's like,
I just feel like, I've heard that too in the past with this one specific player that was trying to play both sides, and she just kept asking for more and more and more. Yeah. And I'm like, if you get that amount, you are literally going to bankrupt that company.
Yeah.
You're going to bankrupt that tour, and there will be nothing left.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there'll just be, I mean, at some point, the PPA and MLP have got to say no.
Yeah.
They got to say enough is enough, I mean, it's just crazy. And I think, I know that PPA, when they were negotiating, they said that they had a budget. Mm-hmm. They said that obviously they've blown that out of the water. And I know that when MLP had like for the most part, like a tier structure, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a low level challenger player, it was this amount. And then, depending on your ranking, they kind of moved up. And then, and I think MLP has tried to stick with that. I think that they have budged a little bit here or there, but PPA has just been like, F it. Yeah. We're going.
All right, moving on. Do you or any pros use lead tape? I personally don't. I think it is becoming a little bit more common. There was a player that was getting his paddle tested before one of his matches, and I saw his paddle, and I kid you not, I picked it up, and it was probably at least, what do you think? A normal paddle is 7 to 8, maybe 9 ounces. His was at least 12 ounces.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild. Like, you're swinging like a few more, but a full pound of like, yeah, that's insane. I can't even, dude, I don't put any lead tape at all.
Yeah.
Like, plus you can get tennis elbow.
I mean, if they're using it and they get accustomed to it, maybe not. But if you just pick it up for a first time or first month, I would think you'd have some pain.
Were they pretty jacked? Is it a big player?
Depends on how you define big, but bigger than he was last year.
So PEDs. Oh, okay. Just curious.
Loaded question.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Is there like an unwritten rule where you don't touch another player's paddle? Is there any rules about
I wouldn't say so. No.
Okay. Because like in baseball, sometimes they don't you don't want you touching another player's bat.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay. Just curious. Because I always
have you seen players with locks on their bags or something like that?
No, but like Connor Garnett the other day was playing, right before his singles gold medal, and he set his Pro XR down, and those have gotten so much pub for being gritty. So I just grabbed it, and I mean Connor's my guy, but and I was just like feeling, and it is gritty.
You put some hairspray on it?
Yeah, just helping him out.
All right, loaded question for Jimmy. Which would you choose, PPA or MLP? Just to preface this, Jimmy is an assistant to the assistant GM.
Assistant to the assistant GM. I get coffee for the assistant GM, who then gets coffee for the GM.
So obviously his answer is going to be a little bit.
No, I think I've stayed pretty neutral on this because I've told you I've actually helped players on both sides recently.
So you're not going for MLP?
I think MLP is more fun. I think the format's more fun, okay, but I'm going to add a caveat. I think it's more fun. I think it's more exciting. I think that it creates more energy, and I love the team aspect of things. But I didn't grow up playing individual sports. I grew up playing team sports, right? Mm-hmm. I needed to be that guy that's hidden with all the good players. Yeah. I didn't want to be out there all alone. And so for me, it's a little bit different. I love the team aspect. I love Steve Kuhn's vision. I actually do like the home and away. I like the building a fan base and a following.
All right, get to your caveat.
My caveat is, will it become too much? And will we ever be able to find out who the best player in the world is? right? PPA allows you to do that. The tour model allows us to do that, where MLP doesn't.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that there's a place for both, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Can we get some posted videos of Jimmy's play? We need to see his game. You do not want to see his game.
Don't you know this? Me and Hayden play Tyra and Leia. There's 4 minutes of video at the very end of the match. I will post it.
No, he won't.
No, I'm going to post it because I freaking ripped the ball past Leia and she told me it was the luckiest effing shot of my life.
And it was it not?
Maybe. But we lost 16-14. It was close.
They were just making it interesting.
No, that puts me like top 5 females. I would be a top 5 female based off of that match.
Who would it go? Annalie Waters.
Anna Bright.
You're still sticking with Anna Bright after
Anna Bright.
Okay.
Which I shouldn't. She's been terrible lately. And ever since I said that, your head exploded. Me.
Over Catherine? Over my fellow aces?
Okay, she wasn't there. So I'd probably I'd go Catherine, Leia, Tyra, then me.
Wow.
I'd be 6th.
All right. Is
And then
Modballs
Lucy and then Callie.
is Modballs losing money sending them to Jimmy to give out and he just eats them all?
No, they're not because I need sustainable clean fuel too.
Can we get Jimmy to dress up like a pickleball on Halloween?
No, what are these questions? People
Dress up like Steve Kuhn.
No, Steve Kuhn does look like he could be like a villain in a Batman movie, right? Ken Herman looks like he would definitely be an extra in The Walking Dead, and Steve Kuhn looks like he could be a villain in the Batman movie.
Does crapping on everyone make Jimmy feel good during pods?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. I feel really good about it. Like the worse I make other people feel, the better I feel. It's weird.
I'm a fan of the Vulcan V930 paddle. I'm thinking of buying the V730. What are the differences? Both great options. I would say the V730 will provide quite a bit more pop and power. The V930 is great. I was using it. It was really great for control and dinking when you're up at the net. But when you're trying to put balls away or drive balls, I lacked a little bit of power. So is Vibe League coming back? I believe so. I think they actually just announced today.
Just announced it. Today's the day. Pickleball, but louder. That was their motto. That's terrible. They need to change that. Connor, I don't love it.
Do you think Tyson realized? So I heard it was actually Dundon that came up with the name and I think the slogan.
I like Vibe, and I actually like the logo. Right?
Yeah.
But pickleball, but louder is dumb.
What would you come up with?
Well, pickleball's already loud enough. That's the complaint about it. People hate it because it's too loud.
That's why they love it.
No, people are complaining. Like they're literally complaining in parks, and they want to move to Nerf pickleballs.
Do you think Tyson realizes his biggest fan base is Facebook boomers?
Yeah, 100% he does. And Russian bots that he paid for on Instagram.
How do you know he paid for them?
Because he gets 0 engagement on his post. He has 80,000 followers and he gets 0 engagement.
All right, social media expert.
I'm a pro now. I'm pretty much a pro.
What's Pardo's plan for the rest of 2023 for PPA players? We don't know. We're all just speculating. We are supposed to get Pardo on the phone today at some point. So hopefully that happens. They are insanely busy right now, both MLP and PPA running around crazy. And so hopefully we'll be able to get him on the phone. Are you playing in MLP Atlanta? Up to this very moment, I'm planning on it. There has not been made any notification or any updates with regards to that.
So I was told this morning that you guys are all still contracted to play in it.
Yeah. So
I don't know. That would be wild. Like imagine Pardo shows up.
yeah.
Like I don't know.
Take his team.
He like literally.
His team is supposed to be the best.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Yeah, I mean Pardo's got on paper the best team.
How much did MLP offer you? How much was it? $5 million or $7 million?
I thought it was like 6. Yeah.
And I'm a loyal guy, and so I stayed with PPA.
Which is wild that you stayed with him for so much less,
I know.
like $5 million less.
Exactly. How will all of this affect the APP?
So this is funny. We just had Thomas Shields. We just talked to Thomas Shields just off the air, and he had said something really funny. And he said the APP is just laying and waiting, and they're laying in the bushes. And they're just waiting.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's almost like they're just laying there and they're waiting for these two freaking juggernauts
beat
to
each other to death.
just to beat each other to death.
Yeah.
And when they're both laying there knocked out, the APP is going to slide in and steal their wallet.
Yeah.
And
Ken Herman.
Yeah, Ken
Sneaky
Herman,
guy.
sneaky Ken coming in with his hairpiece, and he's going to freaking take their wallet. So, I don't know. APP may end up okay at the end of this.
Is Jimmy going to MLP or is he going to Vibe like the cool kids?
Oh, I'm going to go to both. I'm literally going to play. I'm going to go to every single event. I'm going to be that guy.
Why haven't any of the pros taken to the LeBron model of short-term contracts, max flexibility? I don't think MLP or even PPA was offering that, even allowing that. The only players I think could maybe get that would be top 4, maybe Ben Johns. He could command that type of a contract, but I don't know.
And my opinion on this, I have my own opinion on this, but shocker, I know. But I actually think that the leagues aren't viable and like they haven't shown enough sustainability for you to trust the league to give you a 1-year deal. I think you take the 3-year deal and take the guaranteed money. Obviously the league folds.
What if it's a guaranteed 1-year deal?
If the league folds, you're not going to get that money. Yeah. But I just think you take the long-term deal just based off of the league's sustainability. It's not the NBA where they have 100 years. You know that the checks are going to get written every single week. So,
what's the most similar ball to tournament Duras? I heard they're different from consumer Duras. So we talked about this, I think, in 1 or 2 podcasts ago.
We actually talked about it on our Connor pod, but it wasn't released.
Okay, yeah, man.
Do you want me to explain it?
Really quick.
Okay, so what happens is they're the exact consumer Duras and PP and the Pro Duras are the exact same ball. There's no different. They're made in the same factory. There's no different. Travis Rettenmeyer, Tyler's friend, was actually wrong about this. But what they do is the players don't like a smooth, brand new ball. So they take them, they put them in a dryer that doesn't have any heat, and they scuff the balls up just so they're not brand new. So it looks like they essentially makes it seem like they've been played with. Yeah. And then they go and they put a thicker logo back on the ball so that they could be seen for tournament play. Yeah. That's the only difference. The logo obviously is different, but it's the exact same ball made in the exact same factory. Everything is identical.
Correct. When PPA is the villain, it's shady, but when MLP is the villain, it's business. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it depends on what side of the fence you're on, right? I mean, we said that we thought it was a savage move by Brooks Wiley to literally go to Kansas City across the street from the venue and start freaking signing players. That's savage, right? But
or is it smart?
Yeah, it's smart. Yeah, I think it's smart. I think it's a very smart move. I mean, why wouldn't you? You got to be on site. I think MLP made a misstep not having more people on site. Mm-hmm. I think that they should have had team owners there and and more people there.
That's a blind side if I've ever seen one. Show up the day of a tournament that PPA is hosting, and then just try to get
that's what I'm
players.
saying. And so I think that
you have to give PPA credit. They reacted pretty well for what they were dealt with.
Yeah, they were way behind the 8 ball.
Imagine if they even had 5 more hours.
Yeah. I think if you had aligned them both up side by side and said, ready, go, right? Like this starts at midnight tonight, ready, go.
Yeah.
PPA might win, might come away with it.
Yeah. I still don't know if we have a true winner yet because there's still a couple holdouts. So as of the recording of this, there's a couple people that have not.
J-Dub, make up your mind.
All right. All right, we'll just do a couple more questions. Advice for first tournament, Jimmy?
Have fun. Like honestly, at the end of the day, it's pickleball. Go have fun.
Have you heard of these new contracts?
Well, not for this tournament. You literally just paid money to go play, so go have fun.
Is all this drama an overreaction from both parties?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think so.
I think it's an overreaction. Oh, sorry. The drama is not an overreaction. The contracts are an overreaction.
Yeah.
The size of the contracts. But the drama, no. I get what
This is very fitting. This is in line with how it should be handled, I think.
Yeah, I get what Steve Kuhn was trying to do by splitting off. And I get Connor Pardo's reaction. Connor Pardo's reaction is it's to be expected. I don't see any issue with Connor Pardo's reaction to this at all.
Now that PPA is split up, will Tyler become bronze king again? I can only hope so.
I mean, you just have to show up to get a bronze right now with the players that are signed.
I hope so.
I mean, right now, I
need more bronzes.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any this year. I think I have a couple top 4th place finishes.
Bro, best case scenario, Ben and Colin, Matt and Deckel. We'll say Matt and Deckel. And then you team up with Alshon.
Dude, I love me some Alshon.
Or Jay or whoever. Alshon. Yeah. We'll go Alshon. Yeah, and you're Brown's baddie.
All right. What is your biggest signing surprise? So give us your top 2 on either side.
My biggest one I would say is Riley Newman to the MLP.
Okay.
I mean, he's got a great relationship with Tom Dundon. They're really close friends.
I had heard he was on the phone with Tom, and he had told Tom that he was going to go sign PPA, and then he flipped. Yeah.
So, I mean, I talked to Connor Pardo last night, and he literally said, we had him. Yeah. The biggest one on the PPA side, there's a couple, but one honestly is Deckel Bar, because same thing. He lives at Dreamland.
Yeah.
Him and Steve Kuhn are like very, very close. Yeah. And I heard that it rocked Steve Kuhn a little bit. Yeah. Like this was hard for him.
I heard it was very hard for him.
Yeah. And so
emotionally.
Yeah. So Deckel leaving is a big deal for just because of the relationship. But in terms of like actual players, I think that it's fairly what I thought it would. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised about some of the Julian Arnold he's the MLP king, he's self-proclaimed. Yeah. He's kind of fitting for MLP in terms of like his.
I'm a little bit surprised. MLP got a couple of we'll call him single specialist. Yeah. Connor Garnett, I mean, he's very good in doubles now, but he started off doing really well in singles. Yeah. Jame. And there's just a couple other singles guys where in MLP singles isn't as
that's true. But Jame was already drafted in Challenger. Yeah. So he was on a Challenger team from last year. Yeah. I think that one thing the MLP tried to do is go get the players that were already drafted, just to try and keep as much stability as possible. I'm actually shocked that Alshon went PPA.
I mean, I think he was a package deal with.
Followed Annalie.
Yeah. You're shocked?
I'm totally being sarcastic.
That wasn't funny.
No, it's kind of funny.
Some people might think it's funny.
I feel like it's funny.
We're going to get Christian on before we do Cincy. So within the next week,
I would like Christian to come on. I would like to have a long conversation.
The first time I met him, he's hilarious. I mean, he was just his normal self. Just saying.
He's literally posting lap pictures on Instagram, like flexing right now. He said, "No pickleball today, so here's a lap pic." Like what in the world? Like, dude, you're not normal in the head.
Hey, most top athletes are a little bit different.
That's true.
All right. Hopefully that went a little bit longer. If you have more questions or more juice or gossip that you want to submit to us, send it in and we will do our best to get those answered. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and share this video. Yes. Thank you to our sponsors, The Pickler, our title sponsor. Go buy your paddle at thepicklershop.com. Use code KOTC. Crown Pickleball right here. We love them. Great ball, great value. They don't break. They don't wobble as much. Use code KOTC. Mod balls, really good. I might have one actually right now. And then Vulcan, use code KOTC.
I need one after all these podcasts.
All right. We are done.
Let's go. Play that music. Did you wrote this song yourself? Like this is your.
I wrote it.
I mean, like when we win an Emmy, I think we're gonna get an Emmy for